Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today at our Service to STEM webinar. We are joined by Mike Brown. He is one of our incredible colleagues from Villanova who supports Service to School as one of our VetLink partners. Mike's going to be talking a little bit today about what it takes to become a competitive applicant as a STEM or computer science major. And then he's also going to ask or answer any questions that you all have about what it means to be a competitive applicant at Villanova specifically. So, Mike, I will go ahead and turn it over to you. Thank you so much for being with us here today. And I'm excited to hear the information that you have for our applicants.
Thanks, Sydney. I appreciate it. Hope everyone can see me and hear me all right. My name is Mike Brown. As Sydney said, I am the director of the Office of Veterans and Military Service Members here at Villanova University. I am also a former enlisted Army veteran and used my GI Bill benefits to earn my degree. I've been at Villanova for, I guess, around 4 years now, almost 5. And I guess I'm the founding director. And so we're really growing our efforts here and programs for student veterans, and we've seen some tremendous growth over the last few years. So, without any further ado, STEM, right? That's the topic of conversation today, and I think it's a great thing to talk about. Service to STEM is a play on words with service to school, but really, when you think about STEM, and you define it, it's any sort of degree in science, technology, engineering, or math. And so that can look like biology, chemistry, nursing, computer science, mechanical engineering. The list goes on and on. Computer science, nursing, and biology are the 3 largest degrees that have been given. I think in the last 10 years, those 3 have seen growth and continue to be the 3 largest. And when you think of biology, it's pre-med, nursing, obviously there's always a need for nursing, and then computer science can lead to a lot of different things within that field. And then another one that is growing at a pretty good clip is fields within cyber. So cybersecurity has been a growth program, and you've seen departments and degrees and certificates really explode over the last few years within the cyberspace. And so we'll talk a little bit about all of those. And before we get into the making yourself a good candidate, why would you even pursue a STEM degree? What's the purpose behind it, right? And so when you think of career outcomes, what does a degree, certificate, et cetera, lead to? And according to the Department of Labor, STEM careers have grown almost 80% over the last 3 decades. So that is tremendous growth within that field. And then when you think about earnings, on average, a STEM degree versus a non-STEM degree earns around $25,000 a year more. And that's, again, according to the U.S. Department of Labor and Statistics. So there's real valid reasons why you would want to pursue a STEM degree. It's not just because it sounds good or there's high demand. It really is something that can lead to meaningful careers where you can make a difference and use some of those soft skills that you learned in the military, or maybe the hard skills, depending on your MOS, to find a career, not just a job, in a STEM field. And then so when you add those things up, demand, so there's lots of demand within the STEM space, but also the career earnings. It really is a pathway that can lead to meaningful career outcomes for you as a transitioning service member. So how do you set yourself up, right? That's one of the big questions. How do you get into a great school to find a program that you like, and within a field that is, maybe regionally or nationally, like growing. And so I think there's a couple of things you ought to be doing. And the fact that you're linked up to Service to School is a great start. Service to School will really help you go from 0 to hero with your college application. But I think there are some things you can do on your own as well. One of them is, don't just take the college's or school's name as, well, they must be a great producer of STEM degrees. Really do some due diligence on your behalf, looking at several different colleges, not just 1 or 2. Most schools at this point have waivers for applications. Similar here to Villanova, we have a fee waiver where there's literally no harm in applying. So do your due diligence. And what that means is when you call Villanova, as an example, you'd speak to me maybe first. But what I would always do, and what a lot of schools really tend to do, is link you up with current student veterans within that degree path. So if you were to call me tomorrow and say, hey, Mike, I'm interested in computer science, what I would do is I would link you up to several student veterans here on campus who are majoring in that program. So you can do some informational interviewing with them. What's it like? What are the class, what's the class size? Do you get to know your professors? Those sorts of questions. But the other thing I'm going to do is link you up to faculty members as well. So you can get to know right from the professor's mouth what the programs are like, the vigor and the rigor rather with the programs, the length, how many credits maybe transfer that you have already accumulated from a different school, community college, etc. So that's really step one, is thinking about the schools you want to go to, really doing a deep dive on the programs. Pay attention to rankings, but rankings are sort of a tricky thing to think about. So stick to the service of school schools. There's 28, I believe, now within the service of school VetLink program. You'll find at least one, or most likely many more that offer very good programs within the field you want. So you're doing some informational interviews with faculty members and students at those schools, and then also think about linking up with some ambassadors with service of school to talk about some of their experiences in applying to different programs. And then I would also say get active on LinkedIn or other social media platforms and do some informational interviews there as well. Talk to people who have not just who are doing the degree, but who have got the degree and are now out in the world, working in that degree field. And, when you combine all of those things, you're talking to students, you're talking to faculty members, you're working with service of school, and you're getting some mentors on the outside who have already done that. I think you're really going to set yourself up at the initial outset of becoming a good candidate and knowing what you want to do. And then when you think about STEM, it's a very, very broad topic. Anything from statistics to biomechanical engineering and everywhere in between. So think of life within STEM as a funnel. It's really broad. Try to narrow it down to a couple of things that you might be interested in. So if you're a transfer student at Villanova in the College of Engineering, as an example, everyone starts out basically as an electrical engineer. That's just what you start with. Because your first year on campus, you're basically all taking the same classes, really just knocking out some of those prereqs. And then once you figure out what it is you want to do, then you transfer into the program, whether that's computer engineering or mechanical engineering, excuse me, or whatever you think that is. So think of it as a funnel. Like I said, start broad and really start to narrow it down to what it is you think you want to do. And then again, that's why it's important to talk to the different colleges. And then another thing that's going to set you up for some success, like I talked about earlier, is the transfer of credits. And that can be kind of tricky at more selective institutions. And it may be a barrier or something that you struggle with. You may have 50 credits from an online school that you may have done. Those credits may not all transfer into the specific schools that you're looking at. Some of them most likely will, though. And so that's always going to be something that you're going to want to talk about. Regardless, I do recommend taking some classes within a variety of different worlds, if you will, to learn what it is that you want to pursue, because it's better to do that before you get into your four-year institution than to come to a four-year and start, taking classes within art history and physics. The funneling down when you're outside is really important, so that when you do get to your four-year, you can focus on achieving and getting through the program in a timely fashion. Because again, the GI Bill is only going to give you 36 months. And we'll talk a little bit about some other things at the end of this that can buy you some extra time within STEM fields. But really, getting that a couple of classes out of the way to learn more about what you want to do when you graduate and what kind of career field you want to be in is going to be really important when you're talking about setting yourself up for success, both in the college setting and in your career. And then think about, your major is you can be a little bit creative. Obviously, if you're going to the College of Nursing, you're wanting to be a nurse. But an example here at Villanova is we had a student here who majored in statistics and minored in computer science, and he now works on Wall Street trading for a big bank. So he has a STEM degree too, basically with his major and minor. And he's not doing necessarily a STEM field in the typical sense, but he used his degree to find the career that he wanted. Similarly, I have a student who graduated with a history degree who's now doing data analysis for a company. So the degree is not the be all end all, is what I'm getting at. What you squeeze out of the juice of college is going to be up to you, but don't think of the degree as just, oh my God, I didn't get into the specific program. People transfer, people change degrees all the time. So when you get here at Villanova and you're doing, computer engineering and you think, you know what, I'd rather do computer science. It's not a big deal. It's not a big problem. It's okay to think about that. So don't worry about, or don't get caught up on the specific degree. It's going to be some fluctuation. You're going to meet people and potentially meet opportunities that might change your mind a little bit, frankly, and that is absolutely okay. And so, thinking about that, when you're doing these informational interviews with people, you'll probably come across folks who have history degrees who are now doing computer science like jobs. And so ask questions specifically about those paths. How did you get from history to computer science? How did you get from statistics to working on Wall Street? Those are very good questions to ask, very valid and very reasonable questions. And I think very good for you to know as a prospective student veteran. And so when you think about all that, right, that's setting yourself up. And then when you're combining that with service to school, that's where you get the addendum, which will help translate some of your military experiences, whether that's awards you've received, deployments you've been on, the rank that you've received. If you're an E5 and you were a squad leader, an admissions counselor does not have any idea, most likely, what a squad leader means. So working with service to school to break down some of those language barriers on your application and in your essay is going to be fantastic. I have seen essays from students who are wanting to come here that I felt like were written on the back of a napkin. And so take your time with asking for help. It's okay to do that. Having other people look at your essay and potentially edit it, get some feedback. It may be critical in ways, but that's okay. The folks are trying to look out for you and have your interest in heart. They're not trying to be critical of you personally. So that's really going to be a big part of that application process when you get there. So, when you're thinking about going back and reviewing what I just talked about, STEM degrees are in high demand. You earn more money typically with a STEM degree than a non-STEM degree. There are ways in which you can set yourself up for success with getting accepted to the school you want, informational interviews, working with service to school, and talking to a variety of schools about specific programs are going to really help. And then again, once you get to that application process, really sit down and work with folks at service to school to set you up for success. Breaking down some of those language barriers are a big piece of that. And so when we talk about pathways, right, that's something that I think has been my biggest challenge, or my biggest sort of drive here at Villanova is we have, we're not a huge school. We don't have 5,000 people coming into Villanova every year. We have around 1,500 new students that come into Villanova every year, meaning it's highly competitive. Not everyone gets in. And so we wanted to talk about some pathways for the non-traditional students. And since we've been here, we've done two of those specifically. One within our nursing program. So our College of Nursing, when I first got hired, approached me and said, we'd like to have more service members and veterans within our college. How do we do that? And so we worked with a partnership between our College of Professional Studies and our College of Nursing to make that become a reality. And we now have several veterans within our undergrad and graduate spaces here. And the way we do it is, if you were to come to me and say, Mike, I really want to think about a nursing degree, what does Villanova have to offer? Basically, what we've been able to do is set aside a Bachelor of Science, or an Associates of Science degree within our College of Professional Studies, where you will be able to tackle your prerequisites that are very nursing and health science related, taking anatomy and physiology, biology, chemistry, some of those classes that you'll need. And if you finish that degree, it transfers very nice and neatly right into our College of Nursing, and you will be a junior to start doing your clinical rotations. And we've had a couple students who have already done that program, and a couple more who are in the program here at the College of Professional Studies. So it's a real viable pathway, and it helps really create a solid, meaningful way to a career within nursing. The two students who I talked about earlier are already doing prerequisites. They're done, and they're doing internships this summer at hospitals while they wait for their fall semester to start. So they're getting the experience, and they're going to be doing their clinical work again this fall. A great pathway. Similarly, with our computer science degree, we have a good number of student veterans. I think we have 8 incoming just in our computer science program this fall. And so the College of Professional Studies has partnered with the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences here, where you will get a Bachelor of Science degree in computer science, where you'll be a College of Professional Studies student with a more flexible schedule, but you'll be getting a College of Liberal Arts and Sciences degree. So it's really an interesting way where you may have, more family needs on the outside. You may not be able to be a full-time student every semester or be on campus all the time. Our computer science program really offers some flexibility in programming, but really the rigor that you expect. And just a fantastic opportunity for 2 real in-demand STEM careers, both computer science and nursing, where we have sort of paved the way and knocked down the barriers for how to get a degree, but how to start from zero and go all the way to completion and be successful. I'm very certain that we are not the only school who does things like this. I know Columbia has something somewhat similar, and so I want to make sure it's not just Villanova that you're talking about. I want you to consider it, obviously, but I want you to know that there are many schools who are thinking more about the non-traditional students. And I think as you move forward, have those conversations, ask those questions. It's never going to look badly upon you if you're asking questions like that. So what does that look like, right? How do I do that at Villanova? The nice thing about those 2 programs I mentioned are they are rolling admissions, meaning you don't have to just start in the fall. You can start in the summer. You could start in the spring. There's no hard deadlines. That's very test optional. And we want to create support systems around you that lead to success. And then the other thing here that we do at Villanova is we really take our opportunities on campus and outside of campus very seriously. And what I mean by that is one of our students is doing an undergraduate research fellowship where he's getting paid this summer to work with a computer science professor to research an opportunity, an idea that he had. And he's going to go from idea to getting that published and then presenting that at a conference. And that's just, a student veteran really thinking about how we can use the campus resources to his benefit, frankly. And it's really a great program. He's getting paid, thousands of dollars to be here and do some research. It's really fantastic. And then the other side of that is internships. We have 4 or 5 legitimate employers who want to hire interns, and it's not waiting for your junior year. They want you immediately. As soon as you get on campus, you're not 18, you're not 19 years old. They know you have real life experience. They want to work with you. Basically, you'll be an intern getting meaningful experience from your freshman year all the way until you graduate, which can obviously be put on your resume, but also can lead to a career potentially at that company, which is fantastic. So those are the two, real meaningful pathways we have. The College of Nursing is very serious about wanting more service members and veterans. So if that's ever of interest, I'm always happy to talk to folks about that. And then obviously the computer science is something that I knew we could really harness. It's a program here that's just fantastic, and they wanted to build some flexibility around it. And so we attached ourselves to it and said, hey, let's think about veterans when you're talking about any expansion or flexibility. And then, once you're on campus, or once you've been accepted, right? What's next? And like I talked about earlier with the student veteran here on campus, his name is Brett. He has an idea for making a process simpler, and he approached a professor and said, hey, here's this idea. And the professor said, we have this program on campus for undergraduate research, and I'm doing research in a similar thing. Why don't we team up and do this? And that was something that helped me as a staff member learn about these. There's more opportunities, but also sort of empowered him, the student, to say, I'm not just like coming up with random ideas. This is something that professors and people in the field are actually wanting to study more of. So once you're accepted and you're on campus, don't just sit in a veteran center. Don't just go from car to class and then back home. Really soak up everything that your college has to offer. There are support systems in place, but really there are opportunities to allow you to thrive as a human being, and really put your career path on overdrive. Internships, undergraduate research, and then the alumni piece as well. Once you're a Villanova Wildcat, one of the first things I do is I link you up to alumni who are out in the world doing something similarly to what you want to do. And so I think that is, some of the things that we want you to be able to explore and do, not only here, but any college you go to. Please squeeze all the juice as you can out of that college experience. Have some fun, obviously, as you're doing it, but really take advantage of all the systems in place to help you. And then when you think about your classes, right? You're a computer science major. Your first year and a half, those classes may be pretty broad. They're sort of generic on purpose. They want to make sure that what you're wanting to study is right. And then as you become more of an upperclassman, your classes will become much more specific. Again, that funnel approach happens within your classes as well. And so when you're thinking about that, that's the great opportunity to start thinking more about, is this what you want to study? And then maybe also about a minor. So if you're studying computer science, maybe you want to then start looking at a cybersecurity minor, or other technology-based careers, or maybe something totally different. Maybe you want to study a foreign language or whatever, and those things are fine. Many of our student veterans major and then they double minor. They take a couple of things that are of interest, and it really helps them as they, again, go from the abstract learning and apply that to their internship or their research. And it's really been something that we have found to be a valuable experience. And then the other thing that I want to talk about with soaking up college is clubs. So when you get onto campus, there's going to be a club for basically anything you've ever wanted to do. If you want to be, if you want to be a video gamer, if you want to play intramural football, whatever those things are, please try to soak up all of that as well. Being around other students who are not like you, maybe they're civilians, they're younger, they're from different parts of the country. Those are going to be valuable. It helps you become a more well-rounded individual, but also a more well-rounded learner as well. You're going to learn from them, and they're going to learn from you. So it's really going to be a valuable experience. for all parties involved. So those are the things that I really want to talk about. Now you're accepted. And now what? And maybe you're accepted to several different schools, and those are good problems to have. You have to make some choices. And I would say, if you're doing that, you got yourself set up for success. You're going to go to any of these schools that Service to School are aligned with, and you're going to be all right. There's going to be programs for you and a career path for you that's going to align nicely. And then, you'll hear a lot about internships, and some statistics out there right now is that many first-generation college students, Pell eligible students, are not being afforded or are not taking advantage of internships. And there's a variety of reasons for that. One of them is a first-generation college student. They may not have the support systems in place from a family perspective to think about the benefits of those. And I think the stat that just came out last month was only 22% of first-generation college students are participating in a college internship at any level. And I think that's awful, frankly. And so that's something I'm very diligent about. I think right now there are only 2 of our student veterans who are not doing internships. And that's because they are traveling this summer or doing something that they just needed a break. But every other one is doing something in their career field, earning some money, which is great, but also really being able to apply those skills that they're learning in the classroom too. So when it comes to internships, once you get to the college campus, do it. As Nike says, they provide you meaningful experience, and don't just wait for you'll hear the rhythms maybe when you're talking about that, timelines. Start thinking about internships as soon as you step on foot on the college campus. Ask questions about that in your informational interviews. Hey, I'm interested in applying to Villanova. What does your internships timeline look like? What's going on with that? Those are very good questions to ask, because I think that sets yourself up for a better career path. And then what else can you do? What else is out there on campus? We have, specifically here at Villanova, Career Services comes to the Veteran Center once a month and can do anything from mock interviews to resume prep to LinkedIn help to career coaching. They run the gamut of services, and they're here in person in our vet center, and also via Zoom or whatever. So there's real meaningful resources on campus that can help with that. But also, professors have office hours on purpose. Many times our professors say that no one ever comes to those office hours, so it allows them to get a free hour's worth of work in. Use office hours when you're a college student. Relationships matter. They may be doing research in something you're interested in, like I mentioned. Don't be afraid to ask questions and try to get on to doing some research. Professors, generally speaking, want to get to know you. And I think as you move forward in your college career, you'll want to get to know professors as well. If there is a veteran center on your college campus like ours, get to know the faculty and staff that are associated with the veteran center. We have work study opportunities here at Villanova where you can get paid to hang out in the veteran center and get to go to different events and get to meet other people and get exposed to different experiences. I'm bringing 2 of my work study students with me to the VetLink Summit here in a couple of weeks in Chicago. So those are all great opportunities. Ask questions about that as well. And then events, not only the Veteran Center events, but club events, other events, or maybe a speaker within the department that you're in coming to campus. Make sure you're asking questions about all of those things on the outset when you're even thinking about applying to a school. What are those opportunities like at Villanova or at University of Chicago or wherever you're applying? It's very important to know. And you want to go to a college that fits you. You don't want the college isn't going to align to you. You want to go to a college that feels like a home to you. It's the sense of belonging should be there. And so that's, the ideal. If you can, come and visit several colleges, not just making phone calls and getting on Zoom. If possible, take a week or 2 of leave if you're still in the service and go visit a couple of colleges. We had 2 Marines who did that the other day. They were on the East Coast and one of their stops was here at Villanova. So it was great to see that they're taking their approach to college seriously. They're not just sitting in Zooms, which again, if you're based in Okinawa or something, that's what you have to do that. But if you can, it'd be great if you could take some leave or use the time between when you get out and when college starts to visit a couple of these college campuses, walk around, get a feel for it, see the buildings, talk to folks face to face. That's going to be another way to find the college campus that feels like home to you. And then before I get into any Q&A, I want to talk about a couple more things that are more of the miscellaneous, I guess. But within VA benefits, there's a couple of things I really want to talk about. One is the Edith Norse STEM degree. Basically, it's an extension to a program. So let's just say you're wanting to be a computer engineer, and one of your semesters, something happened where you had to drop a couple classes, and it's going to take you a little bit longer to complete your degree. The Edith Norse program within the VA allows some extra time added to your GI Bill for completion within STEM degrees specifically. So if you're studying, English, you won't be able to do this. But if you're studying anything, and it's very broad, anything within STEM, we've had several students here at Villanova use this successfully to complete their programs. And the VA is going to want to see some due diligence. They're not going to want to see terrible grades and you dropping and adding and going crazy. But as long as you're on a pretty straightforward path, they will grant you the benefit from what I understand. And it's a great way, like I said, to extend your GI Bill benefits. An extra, I think it's at least an extra semester, potentially an extra year. And then the other thing to think about is if you are a disabled veteran, 20% or higher, Chapter 31 benefits are another great thing to think about. That'll be a whole nother webinar conversation, Chapter 31 in and of itself. But it is something to think about when you're talking to folks on the outside or when you're talking to a veteran service organization. Chapter 31 benefits are a huge opportunity for you as a student veteran. And so, are people using the GI Bill to get STEM degrees? The answer is 1,000% yes. 40% from 2018 to 2021 of all student veterans going to college were in STEM-related degree programs, which is an increase from the previous 3 years of an additional 10%. So it was 30, now it's 40. I would assume that's probably going even higher as we move forward. But over 135,000 students use their GI Bill to get a STEM-related degree from 2018 to 2021. So again, the demand's there, the programs are there, and I think the careers are also there. And thinking about how your military experience can relate to a STEM degree or a STEM career or getting into college, frankly. And your military experience provides you with a lot of the soft skills. And again, based on your MOS, potentially some of the hard skills that you need. Make sure that when you're applying and talking to services school and mentors that you're getting your skills really translated into the civilian world, if that makes sense. So again, someone who's an admission counselor sees that you are an E5 and a squad leader in a platoon. They have absolutely no idea what that means. But what I know what that means, you have a great deal of leadership skills. You're probably a really good communicator. You're timely, all of those things, right? But make sure those things are getting translated for you as you apply to these schools, as you work with your mentors, and as you go through with your resume improvements over time. And then the last thing I'll say, again, before I take some questions, is going to be mentorship and your network. Having a broad-based network to include people within the military and veteran space, but people not in the military and veteran space is going to broaden your career opportunities by tenfold. The what you know plus who you know is a recipe for success. If you know people who work at a specific location and you're thinking about applying to an internship or a job there, you can talk to the people who are already there and say, hey, I'm thinking about applying. Can you put in a good word for me? Can you look at my resume? So again, get out of the comfort zone of just the military and veteran space, and don't leave it, but certainly don't just be that. Try to be a well-rounded individual, like I said, and I think you will have success broadly across your life, whether that's in college and then once you graduate. And so that's my my half an hour spiel on setting yourself up for being a good candidate for college, but also talking about the holistic sort of view of looking at not just college, but looking at the pre, the during, and the after. Setting yourself up for college while you're on a college campus, and then once you do graduate. Those are three things to think about. When you're thinking about getting out of the military in any capacity, you may have some barriers in the way or some different life circumstances, but those are three things that I think you can really hone in on. And Sydney, are there any questions that I haven't seen?
Yeah, we had one come through. Their question was, for STEM transfer students, do they transfer as a sophomore or as a junior?
Good question. And for here at Villanova specifically, it depends on the program. So we have two programs that are very similar. One is called Information Systems and one is called Computer Science. Computer Science is a little more math heavy. Information Systems is a little less math, but there's a lot of overlapping classes. The Information Systems will take more credits. The Computer Science will generally take less credits. But again, you're getting a Villanova degree in very similar pathways. We've had successful folks come through both, get hired out of both. So it really depends on the very specific program and within that department. Again, great questions to ask when you're doing some of those college interviews. Like, hey, I'm thinking about these 4 schools. That's a great question to ask. I have 34 credits from community college X, Y, or Z. What will that look like coming into Villanova?
And then, Mike, someone asked if you could reiterate the STEM specific GI Bill extension program, the one that was through the VA.
Yes, I will. I will bring that up really quickly here. It's called the Edith Norse STEM Scholarship. It allows eligible veterans using post 9/11 GI Bill or dependents using the Fry Scholarship to get added benefits. It provides up to 9 months or $30,000 of benefits for training in high demand fields. So 9 months or 30,000. Typically, a semester at more selective schools costs a little bit more. And so you may not be able to get the full 9 months because that 30,000 may run out. So you may get like a semester and some. But it is a really great program. We've had 3 student veterans in the past year use it here, all to graduate this past May. So they just needed that extra semester. It worked out very well for them. They didn't have to dip into any student loans or anything. It was really just a fantastic way to meet their needs. And again, you're getting a STEM degree is hard, right? It's not simple. It's not going to be easy. You may have to take an extra semester to do it, and that's okay. This program is built specifically for that.
And then another question, can you talk a little bit about the math requirement that you typically will either have for specific majors or that you like to see from STEM applicants?
Sure. I think, when thinking about math, getting all the way up to calculus is going to be required, whether that's here on this college campus or any other campus, really. Calculus, at least 1 and 2, generally speaking, are going to be required, not for all STEM degrees. Again, if you're a statistics major or a nursing major, those will be a little bit different. Nurses don't really have too much math involved. But if you're a computer scientist or a physics major or a chemistry major, calculus is going to be a big piece of that puzzle. So they're going to want to see some math aptitude beyond, math 101, I guess, if that makes sense. But again, that's a great question to ask, program specific. I'm thinking about computer science versus information systems. I'm not good at math. What should I do? There's a couple things. We have a very good math and writing center on campus where you're basically getting individualized one-on-one tutoring from a graduate student for the entire time you're here to assist you with your math or your writing. And it's something a lot of schools offer. So don't be afraid, but also, they want to see some math aptitude previously.
And then another question just came in. Any experience with veterans seeking STEM degrees for emerging job sectors such as aerospace or environmental science?
Yeah, absolutely. We have one of our student veterans just transferred into environmental science here at Villanova. It's a very big program. It's growing. Sustainability is another one that's really a growing field within the world, not just here at Villanova, but environmental science / sustainability are big in demand fields. So that's really much more science-based than it is math-based. So you're going to be taking a lot of different like comprehensive science classes across running the gamut. So again, they're going to want to see some science aptitude. Any transfer student here at Villanova is test optional. And for some of our programs like the rolling admissions, tests are not needed at all, really. If you want to, you can certainly take them. Where some of our programs, again, they like to see tests. They have so many applicants that tests are a more meaningful piece of the puzzle. Not every one of our programs are like that.
Great. Any other questions? You all can feel free to drop those in the Q&A. We have a couple minutes left. I did want to highlight there is a current internship on USA Jobs for students. Current students, you have to be enrolled at an accredited institution within the field of computer science. It is paid and it is with the Department of the Army, and I believe it's remote. So as these opportunities are continuing to come up, as Mike mentioned, this is a growing field, and I think a lot of employers, especially the government, is kind of tapping back into the veteran population to come back as a civilian worker because they know you have experience with the work that they're doing. So as these opportunities come up, I try and share them with our applicants here at Service to School as much as I can. But there's a quote that someone mentioned for an employer we were talking to. She said, the currency of her career is about her connections. So going back to Mike's point about networking, connecting with people in your field, connecting with Service to School, other student veterans, that's how you're going to find out about some of these more specific job opportunities or internship opportunities that could really propel your career kind of, forward after your time on a college campus. So start building those relationships with faculty members, with peers, with those individuals that are doing the work that you want to do. So then you can have a seamless transition from college to a career.
Yes, we have the United States Navy is recruiting our student veterans for civilian jobs in cyber security, computer science, and engineering. They were on campus 3 days ago in my office saying, we want to hire 20 to 25 student veterans over the next 5 years from your institution. And currently we have 7 of our student veterans working at the Navy Yard here in Philadelphia, modernizing ships and submarines, making them, computer literate, basically, going from old ships and submarines and so that's some of the stuff that you would be able to do. We have a Service to School candidate who just got accepted to Villanova, who is talking to the Navy as we speak. Jeff is his name. And then the other one is a small startup, Zero Eyes. They're a growing company that does artificial intelligence-based design. And I think they have 9 of my student veterans currently working for them. So again, that's something that, we are actively doing. You're going to be a student. We want you to be successful, but we want you to think more broadly. Like Sydney was just saying, it's not just about being here as a college student. It's really about setting yourself up for success over the long term.
Absolutely. Well, there's no more questions coming in the inbox, Mike. Thank you so much. I always learn something new from your time with us. For the participants, the webinar, Mike mentioned he did a Maximizing Your GI Benefits webinar for us that we have the recording for. So if you are interested in learning about how to get the best out of your GI bill, absolutely, we can send you that recording as well. We are also recording this webinar today, so we'll be able to share that with registrants and those of you that attended live. Again, thank you so much, Mike. If you applicants are currently working with Service to School and there's ever anything that I can do to support you, please don't ever hesitate to reach out. If you are not currently working with Service to School as an applicant, sign up on our website, or if you have any questions about what it means to become a Service to School applicant, I'm always happy to chat through that as well. So everyone, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Mike, thanks for your time again.
Yep. See you all in Chicago, hopefully.
Absolutely. Take care, everyone.
Bye.